Hey, it's Angenette Levy, and welcome to Law&Crime's Sidebar podcast and our look back at Week 3 in the trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. I spent the last week at the Fairfax County Courthouse, both inside and outside of the courtroom. This defamation trial is being watched around the world, and it was another wild week of testimony, with moments we haven't seen or heard in a courtroom until now. We saw a witness vaping and driving during his deposition. We heard about Elon Musk dating Amber Heard and hooking her up with the ACLU, which led to the Washington Post op-ed in which Depp says Amber Heard defamed him. That's, of course, the subject of Depp's lawsuit and the trial. And while you may have thought that you had heard the last of the grumpy in Johnny Depp's bed, I'm here to tell you that you haven't. We also heard more accounts of Johnny Depp losing part of his finger in Australia and whether or not one of his security team members has ever seen Depp naked below the waist. Yes, you heard me right. But let's get to the beginning. The week started with the end of the cross-examination of Johnny Depp by Amber Heard's lawyer Ben Rottenborn. Remember, this is how Rottenborn left things at the end of Week 2.
This is really pretty.
Thanks. You want to cut me somewhere?
Do I want to cut you?
Yeah, you want an arm, you want a chest? What do you want? What do you want the scar? What do you want? Don't cut me.
Just don't cut your skin. Please do not cut your skin. Please don't.
Cut me.
Why would I do that?
It's easy.
Don't. Please do not do that. Please do not do that. Please don't. Please don't cut yourself.
Rottenborn had left the jury, and frankly anyone watching, with the impression that Johnny Depp wanted to harm himself with a knife when he met with Amber Heard in a hotel room in San Francisco in the summer of 2016. That was after she had filed for divorce and obtained a domestic violence restraining order. Rottenborn started the cross-examination Monday like this.
Mr. Depp, we've talked about this a little bit, but you've testified that abuse can come in many forms, correct? Physical being one of them. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Emotional?
Indeed.
Verbal?
Indeed.
Then Rottenborn played brief clips of recorded conversations between Depp and Heard in which she claims abuse and Depp reacts.
Go put your fucking cigarettes out on someone else. You consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up,
Miss Heard tells you in that recording to go put your cigarettes out on someone else. You don't deny that, but instead you simply say, shut up, fat ass. Is that correct?
I think that was another grossly exaggerated moment of Miss Heard's. I did not put a cigarette out on her or throw a cigarette at her.
I'm not. You're a cunt. I fucking hate you. Fucking hate you. I want out. Fuck this. Goodbye. Cunt.
In that portion of the recording, Mr. Depp, you tell Amber you're a cunt and you fucking hate her, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Rottenborn also went through a series of text messages. In one, Depp feared his daughter hated him because he was drinking. Heard's lawyers say Depp abused drugs and alcohol and then later turned his ire on Amber Heard. Then Rottenborn presented Depp with a stack of negative news stories written about him before and after that Washington Post op-ed. Heard's team says the op-ed she wrote was true and didn't cause Depp to lose acting roles.
For years prior to 2018, when Amber wrote the op-ed, there were numerous negative news stories about you that were released into the public, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'll allow it if you can answer.
By 2018, you're saying?
Correct.
Yes, it all started with Ms. Heard going directly to a court to get a TRO, which is with a bruise on her face and paparazzi. That was the sort of beginning of the ball rolling down the hill and gaining momentum.
On redirect, Depp's attorney, Jessica Myers, went through many of the points Rottenborn brought up on cross, including the text exchange Depp had with actor Paul Bettany before he married Heard, in which they discussed burning or drowning Heard to see if she was a witch. Depp also talked about defiling her burnt corpse. This was his explanation.
In context, it's important to know that none of it was ever intended to be real. And the language that's used, which I am ashamed that that has to be spread on the on the world like peanut butter. For example, the text that is about burning Ms. Heard it's directly from Monty Python in the sketch about burning witches and then drowning the witches. This is a film that we'd all watched when we were 10, and it's just irreverent and abstract humor. That's what we were referring to in those texts.
Then Myers went through audio clips, playing longer portions of the ones Rottenborn had played on cross-examination. I've shortened some of the clips. You can hear Depp wanting to leave when an argument starts and Heard wanting him to stay.
It's early, it's quick, it's so not, you're not interested in not fighting. You are guaranteeing a fight. When you do that, and I've told you this so many times, you guarantee it. If you were interested in not fighting, you would be respectful if you needed the space to make, you would be careful not to perpetuate the fight longer by saying, I need a few minutes, and then actually honoring that. How can I trust you that it will be a few minutes when you've done this in the past and disappeared for hours? You know, I got mad at you in Australia about this. I said, baby, I want to trust you. It's hard for me not to try and work it out. If you want to be the person that's like, I need to cool down, help me do that, give that to you. But I can't give it to you if you always let me down and fuck up and forget.
Because I gave you a time limit.
Here's another conversation.
Yeah, I'm asking you to stay when you feel you are also in the interest of working it out.
I think it's a good idea for us to take a moment or two, take some time. Take some time to think by ourselves without being, barraged by each other's fucking bullshit whatevers. Let's take a break from it, and then come back, try and be calm, and walk through the thing. But I'm not gonna stand and fight with you. I will not. You can call me a coward. You can call me anything you want. All those names, do it. But I will not do it again.
Please stop asking. Please, can you stop for the sake of this conversation?
No, I'm just saying I won't do it again. That's all. So let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop?
Because
May I go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I can't believe this.
Please, you're making it worse for me.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Please, I'm only trying to tell you so that you know you're causing me immense stress right now when you walk away like that. There's no reason to be mad.
Well, then say goodbye. I haven't walked away. You're not saying goodbye. You won't let me fucking leave. Let me leave.
Oh my God. Stop rushing me! Stop pushing me in the corner and then poking me with a stick and then saying, why are you saying the words you want me to say? Stop poking me! Stop rushing me! Stop throwing me against the wall and going, what? You don't like that wall? You don't like the fucking wall? Stop pushing me!
Remember? I'm not pushing you. I'm not rushing you. I said, I need space. I don't want this conversation anymore right now. I need space. And I will take my space. Whether you like it or not, I will take it. And you will take your space. But if you keep halting
I'm not doing anything
this
to you.
and continuing
I'm
with
not
the rhetoric...
continuing it. I'm begging you to stop.
I don't... Okay, stop. I'm stopped. Stop. Now I have to go. Okay? So we will speak to each other in a couple of hours. Okay? I hope you have some kind of revelation makes you feel better. You know? I hope I do too. But we'll just see when I get home. We'll just talk, or we won't talk, or we'll finish this, or we won't finish it. But this is not love. This is not happiness. This is not.
Please stop doing this. Please, you're causing so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. Please. I feel like I have a heart attack almost every day. Please stop.
Back to that audio jurors heard on cross-examination where Depp sounded like he was going to harm himself with a knife. Depp explained what was happening. Heard recorded that conversation when the pair met at a hotel room in San Francisco in July 2016, after the restraining order had been obtained.
Mr. Depp, why were you threatening to hurt yourself in that audio recording?
In fact, I wasn't threatening to hurt myself. I thought that Ms. Heard had brought me to San Francisco. At that point, it was clear she was under false pretenses. I don't know what she was after. So I had a knife in my pocket, and I just took the knife out and I said, "Here, cut me." That's what you want to do. Ultimately, you've taken everything. You want my blood? Take it. Have my blood. And then she said, no. And then I said, look, if you're not going to take it, you want it, I know you want it, that's all I've got left, take it. If she wasn't going to do it, I would have done it. Because that's psychologically, emotionally where I was. I was at the end. I was broken.
Myers ended her redirect in dramatic fashion by playing a phone call Depp had with Heard shortly after she obtained the restraining order.
It's been going on too long, Amber. Maybe we just gotta stop this. Just gotta stop it.
I don't know how to get my reputation back.
We write a letter together.
That makes
Saying that we're going to take this out of the public eye, saying that we're going to try and work this out on our own, saying that the media has created such a hateful storm that it's sickening, that we love each other, and that we want to make sure each other is okay. Have we had fights in the past? Have we had this or whatever? It, they already know all that. Don't matter. Here's the deal.
No, it matters. It makes. You have no idea. Every ounce of my credibility has been taken from. I mean, and done so in a dishonest way. You know.
Amber, the abuse thing is we've got to deal with that. Yeah. We got to deal with that, Amber.
I don't have any way of my credit. It's my credibility. You know what?
And why did you put that out there?
I did not. You forced me. Your team forced me to by going on the offense.
I didn't force you to.
From the very beginning. I promise. Look up the timeline to be fixed. Everything is. Forget it. Forget it. You don't believe what I say. You don't believe what I say. But I did not choose this. Every step of the way has been an offense.
I did not put this anywhere. I didn't. Let me talk to the team.
I did not call the cops. I gave them no statement.
IO called the cops.
I did not call the cops.
You told IO to call the cops.
I did not call the cops, and I did not give them any statement when they came. I've been trying to protect you.
You told IO to call the cops.
While it was happening?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, because the last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can, a jar of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight. The last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can, a jar of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that
it was a fair fight, and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
Yes.
it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if for fair fight. My
What are you referring to when you said you and Miss Heard will write a letter together?
I was trying to make a peaceful settlement.
What did you say in response when Miss Heard said, "Tell the world, Johnny, tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence"?
I said yes.
Next, the jury heard from a house manager named Ben King, who first worked for Depp and Heard in London. King said he didn't see Depp drink wine while working for the couple in London, but he said a large amount of wine was delivered. King said Amber Heard drank 1 to 2 bottles of wine each day. King also said he saw the couple argue.
I was close enough to hear Miss Heard say, "Why did you take your hand away from me, Johnny? Don't you love me anymore?" Like, not in a playful way, I might add. And I think he replied, "Of course I do, don't be silly. Of course I do." And it kind of launched from that point. And at one point, Mr. Depp got up and went to the bathroom or went upstairs, and I was sort of scuttling around out of the way because I wasn't there listening. I was just there doing my stuff in and around them. Yeah, it was a strange, sort of banal way to start an argument. But
how would you describe Miss Heard's tone when she said, "Why did you take your hand away, Johnny"?
Accusatory, spoiled teenage child. Maybe, is that fair? Pretty, not playfully, let's put it that way, more angrily.
Over the course of the 4 weeks in August and September 2014, when you were working with Mr. Depp and Miss Heard in London,
Yes.
Did you ever observe any physical violence of any kind between the two of them?
No, I didn't.
King also worked for the couple in Australia when Depp was filming Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
Did you observe any arguments?
Yes. I had several.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes. A similar pattern, it seemed, to London arguments. One in particular was very similar to the second one in London. Started in the TV room, funnily enough. Loud voices, and Mr. Depp leaving the room, shutting the door, going to another room to play his guitar or, to a bathroom, whatever. And Miss Heard closely following. And
on Sunday, March 8th, 2015, King said one of Depp's assistants called him to the home. Amber Heard, Dr. Kipper, Nurse Debbie Lloyd, and Depp's then head of security, Jerry Judge, were all there.
I could hear pretty hysterical sobbing, crying, which sounded like Miss Heard to me.
The tip of Depp's right middle finger had been severed. King said he found the fingertip.
And where exactly was the finger in the bar area?
Directly below the bar. I mean, the bar was set up like a conventional bar that stuck out from a wall, and with a marble top. There's a big chunk out of that as well, like on the staircase. Directly at the end of the bar, there was a scrunched up piece of kitchen paper, if you like, tissue, with lots of blood around it, on it. So I thought that was probably a pretty good place to look. And it was within that scrunched up piece of paper on the tiled floor at the end of the bar, the base of the bar, by one of the bar stools.
Was there any property damage around the finger?
Yes, a fair bit. On the floor around that area, there were puddles of what smelt like alcohol to me. Seemed like several drinking glasses, a couple of bottles. One was a Stolichnaya vodka bottle. And at the end of the bar, as I said, there was a big chunk out of the bar itself, the bar marble top.
King's testimony corroborates Depp's account of how his finger was severed. He said he later had a conversation with Amber Heard.
She didn't give much explanation, if any. She did say, Ben, have you ever been so angry with someone you just lost it with them? And I sort of said, no. Actually, I'm pretty calm, even-tempered guy. But she did repeat it. She looked pretty incredulous that I hadn't, and she repeated it. You mean you've never lost it with somebody, got so angry with someone you just lost it with them? And I said, unless you count the sort of time when I was 14 years old and I hit the light switch in my bedroom because I wasn't allowed out that night or something. With a person, no, never. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. She dropped it then.
On cross-examination, King was asked whether he saw Marilyn Manson at the home. King said he hadn't. Heard claims that Depp went on a 3-day drug binge with Manson and later assaulted her physically and sexually, something Depp denies.
The award-winning team that created They Walk Among Us, featuring true crime cases from the UK, now bring their unique and bone-chilling podcast across the pond to the United States. Dive deep into cases that hit close to the American heartland.
Police have arrested a man they are calling a serial killer.
With the criminals that walk alongside you.
Significant evidence. That's what Maui police are calling the results of a DNA test linked to a 20-year-old cold case murder.
Who live next door, or maybe who sleep beside you.
Police are investigating a double homicide.
This is They Walk Among America, a new true crime podcast covering tales of murder and mystery in the United States.
The defendant is guilty of manslaughter as charged.
They Walk Among America is a Law and Crime podcast network production. For more information, visit lawandcrime.com/podcasts or theywalkamonguspodcast.com.
Tuesday's testimony began with Tara Roberts, who manages Depp's private island in the Bahamas. She testified about overhearing a fight between Depp and Heard outside of their home in 2015.
Amber was telling him that he was a washed-up actor. He was going to die a fat, lonely old man. Then you heard, you hit me with a can. You heard Johnny say, you hit me with a can. And then he came down the steps, and Amber was behind him. And she had a bottle in her hand, was removed, and there was a brief pause at the moment, I think, of initial shock or uncertainty of why, that we were there. Neither Johnny nor Amber knew that we were there. He proceeded to walk back to the John Deere, and she again he was just sitting in the seat. Amber came up to him and was asking him to come back in the house, that she was sorry, please come back in the house. He didn't come out of the seat, and she was hugging and kissing him, and I love you. She was telling him I loved you. He didn't react. Johnny sat there, eventually got out of the John Deere, and proceeded to start to walk away. At that time, Amber started to grab at him and his shirt and trying to pull him back to the house, just basically viciously trying to pull him back and get him back into the house and yelling at him.
What, if any, injuries did you observe on Ms. Heard?
I didn't observe any.
What, if any, injuries did you observe on Mr. Depp?
The marking across the bridge of his nose.
The same day, the jury heard from forensic psychologist Dr. Shannon Curry, who evaluated Amber Heard over 2 days last December at the request of Depp's legal team. These were Dr. Curry's findings.
The results of Ms. Heard's evaluation supported 2 diagnoses: borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. They could use manipulation tactics to try to get their needs met, very needy of attention, acceptance, approval. They tend to distance people who are close to them. Initially, they may seem very charming. They're very socially sophisticated, actually. That was a major component on there. They have a capacity to kind of offer some of their faults, but in a way, but only the ones that people think of lightly and can all relate to. And so they can present as very fair and balanced, but in actuality, they really might be very judgmental of others and unaware of problems in their behavior and their thinking. One of the primary things I learned was that she had a very sophisticated way of minimizing any personal problems. I also learned that she tends to, well, there were a number of characteristics that were consistent with the eventual diagnoses, but some of the primary characteristics, and I'm going to try to condense 25 pages here, were essentially externalization of blame, tending to have a lot of inner hostility that is attempted to be controlled, a tendency to be very self-righteous, but to also deny that self-righteousness and to judge others critically against these sort of high standards for moral value, but also to deny doing that, essentially to claim that one is very non-judgmental and accepting and yet very full of rage, really. And these aren't facts, but her scores essentially correlated, so they were consistent with other people who obtained these scores who have been shown through many, many, many studies to have these very specific traits.
It seems pretty unimaginable that Amber Heard would willingly submit to a mental evaluation by an expert hired by Johnny Depp's team. But Heard didn't have a choice, since she claimed mental anguish in her countersuit. Judge Penny Ascarati granted Depp's request to have Heard evaluated. Dr. Curry also evaluated Heard for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Ms. Heard did not have PTSD, and there were also pretty significant indications that she was grossly exaggerating symptoms of PTSD.
Heard's lawyer, Elaine Bredehoff, suggested Dr. Curry was nothing more than a hired gun and possibly starstruck by Johnny Depp.
You went to Mr. Depp's home for dinner and drinks before you were hired as an expert in this case, correct?
That's not quite right. I was interviewed at Mr. Depp's home by his legal team. Dinner was served.
You, in attendance with Mr. Depp was Adam Waldman, correct?
Yes.
Ben Chu, correct?
Yes.
Camille Vasquez?
Yes.
Okay. And the dinner lasted approximately 3 to 4 hours, correct?
Yes.
And it included
the interview.
Drinks, correct?
Yes. Dinner and I believe drinks were served.
Okay. And this was before you were hired as an expert, correct?
Yes.
The jury also heard from police officers who responded to 2 separate 911 calls the evening of May 21st, 2016, at Depp and Heard's penthouse. That's that critical date when Heard claimed Depp hit her in the face with his iPhone 6 days before she obtained the restraining order against Depp. It was the day after Johnny Depp's mother had passed away. He testified he went to the penthouse to retrieve some of his belongings. He was going to tell Amber Heard it was over, and then left to go on tour with his band, the Hollywood Vampires. Amber Heard's lawyers say the police dropped the ball and didn't investigate thoroughly enough. However, those officers said there was no evidence of a crime.
During the entire time period you were at the penthouses on May 21st, 2016, did Ms. Heard say that she had been assaulted in any way by anybody?
No, she did not.
What did you determine this call was after your investigation?
A dispute, a verbal dispute. It's not against the law to argue. I argue in my life.
At the time that you closed out this incident on your screen at 9:22 on 5/21/2016, did you know that this call involved Johnny Depp?
No.
Did you, at the time that you closed this out on your screen, did you recognize Amber Heard?
No, I had no idea who she was.
On Wednesday, jurors heard from Alejandro Romero, who worked the front desk at the ECB, where Depp and Heard lived in the penthouse. Romero saw Amber Heard 2 days before she went to court with a mark on her face and obtained that restraining order. But Romero said he didn't recall seeing any injuries on Amber Heard.
You sit here today, when you saw her at the front desk on March 25th, you didn't see any bruising, correct? Correct. And you didn't see that correct? That's correct. I didn't see any marks or bruises. You didn't see any swelling either, did you, Mr. Romero? That's correct. No swelling at all. And she was only 3 or 4 feet away from you, correct? Correct. And you were looking right into her face squarely, correct? Correct.
Everybody, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the courtroom, got a kick out of Alejandro Romero. The gallery was laughing. Johnny Depp was laughing, and so were his attorneys. Romero actually started vaping and driving away during his videotaped deposition.
I just so stressed out because of this. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this court case. Everybody got problems, and I don't want to deal with this no more.
The jury also heard from Depp and Heard's former agent and friend, Christian Carino. He helped them set up marriage counseling, and he said that Heard confided in him and never mentioned abuse. Carino explained why Depp lost his role in Pirates of the Caribbean 6.
What is your understanding of why Mr. Depp lost Pirates 6?
My opinion is that it was related to the accusations that Amber has made.
And what is your opinion based on?
Excuse me?
What is your opinion based on?
Conversations with colleagues and studio execs.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Conversations with studios and other executives, both internal and external.
Carino also testified that he believed that Heard wanted to get back together with Depp after they divorced, possibly as late as 2018. On Thursday, the morning's testimony was all about the Washington Post op-ed. ACLU General Counsel Terrence Doherty said ACLU lawyers and staff wrote the now infamous op-ed, published in December 2018. It had been edited several times so it wouldn't violate a non-disclosure agreement between Depp and Heard that was part of the divorce settlement.
Based on my review of prior drafts of the op-ed, I knew that there were that she was referring to Johnny Depp and her marriage.
That assessment is really damaging to Amber Heard. According to Doherty, Heard and her team wanted that op-ed published at a specific time.
Ms. Heard had a co-starring role in Aquaman, correct?
I don't know whether she was a co-star, but I know that that was a film that she was in.
And didn't she tell the ACLU that she wanted the op-ed to come out just after Aquaman was released?
I do recall that there was a conversation about the optimal timing for the op-ed piece.
And as part of that conversation, Ms. Heard said in words or substance that she wanted the op-ed to come out soon after Aquaman, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Who did she relate that to?
I don't recall, although I believe that there's documents that we produced that can shed some light on that.
Depp's lawyers say Heard wanted it published around that time because it would boost her profile while Aquaman was in the theaters, and it would help the movie at the box office.
After Mr. Depp filed suit against Amber Heard on March 1, 2019, what, if any, payments did Ms. Heard make to the ACLU towards her $2.5 million pledge?
No additional payments.
As of 2018, Doherty said that $1.3 million of the $3.5 million had been donated to the ACLU. He testified that $350,000 of it came from Heard, $100,000 from Johnny Depp, and $500,000 came from an anonymous account linked to Elon Musk, who had dated Amber Heard. Doherty said records showed Musk connected Heard with the organization, which named Heard an ambassador. Her lawyers claim she hasn't donated the rest of the money because she's had financial problems. But Depp's lawyers, through his business manager, Ed White, raised questions about Heard's financial status. White helped negotiate the couple's divorce settlement.
As a result of your involvement on behalf of Mr. Depp in the negotiation, what was your understanding of what Ms. Heard was looking for?
She initially was looking for a consideration of $4 million, but her demand continually increased. It went from $4 million to $5 million. Then it went from $5 million to $5.5 million. Then it went to $7 million.
White suggested Heard should be flush with cash since he sent payments directly to her.
Were the payments made on to Ms. Heard the only economic benefits that she received from the settlement agreement?
No. As I shared with you earlier, Mr. Depp was required to pay $500,000 to Ms. Heard's counsel, which he did in a timely and respectful manner. He was also required to pay all the community liabilities, which accumulated during their 15-month marriage, was approximately $13,500,000. So he paid all the community liabilities. She paid none of them.
White testified that 15-month marriage cost Depp $14 million. He also spoke about the meeting with Depp on Amber Heard's 30th birthday, in which Depp heard about the state of his finances. White said he outlined strategies to get Depp out of financial trouble. He also said that Depp was engaged in the meeting, asking questions, and that no wine was served. White had a lot more to say about red wine. He described the red wine that Amber Heard drank.
2020 is a highly recognized purveyor of wine in Los Angeles, along with other companies.
What involvement, if any, did you have with 2020?
I satisfied the liabilities that Mr. Depp incurred, which at the dissolve of their marriage was approximately $160,000.
Do you continue to pay Mr. Depp's wine bill?
Yes, I do. We pay all of his obligations, but his wine bill has shrunk to virtually zero because he does not consume that much in the way of wine. He's made a few gifts around Christmas time, but his wine bill has gone to virtually zero.
Are you familiar with a Spanish wine known as Vega Sicilia?
Yes.
How are you familiar with that?
I know that it is a very expensive wine, and that I know that Ms. Heard enjoyed drinking the wine.
How much does it cost?
The cost of the wine is approximately $500 a bottle.
This was an important point because red wine and how much Heard and Depp drank has come up many, many times. Heard's lawyers contend that Depp drank red wine regularly, but there's been testimony to suggest that's not the case. And remember, Isaac Baruch said there was red wine on the wall in the hallway of the penthouse on May 21st, 2016, along with broken glass. Heard's lawyer, Ben Rottenborn, questioned White aggressively.
You're being paid for the time that you're sitting on that witness stand today, aren't you?
No.
Well, you charged the time that you spent in connection with legal proceedings in this case, correct?
That's correct, but I charge for my time.
Yeah.
And it's the same time.
You answer my
I
question,
charge...
sir. In fact, you charge $710 an hour for your time, don't you?
Counsel, if you'll let me complete my answer, I'll
No,
be happy to respond.
Sir, please try to stick to the question that I'm asking you. You've had your chance to go well beyond the question being asked, but if you could just please stick to the question I'm asking you, it would go a lot faster. Ms. Heard didn't buy any of the dozens of properties that Mr. Depp owned, correct?
Correct. He owned the assets prior to their marriage.
She didn't pay $5 million to blast Hunter Thompson's ashes out of a cannon, did she?
Not to my knowledge.
She didn't buy a yacht that she couldn't afford and then have to sell it to J.K. Rowling, did she?
Not to my knowledge.
The week ended with testimony from two longtime members of Johnny Depp's security team. Malcolm Connolly testified via video link from England. Connolly said he noticed changes in the couple's relationship as time went on.
I could see that Amber wanted to wear the pants in this relationship. That was pretty obvious.
And what in particular made you think that you observed personally?
Just the way, if something wasn't quite right, or Amber could get a bit frosty at the drop of a hat. So as time went on, I could see them change. I could see Amber change. I could see Johnny getting quieter.
Malcolm Connolly said he saw injuries on Depp. He took a photo of the couple on the Orient Express on their honeymoon. Depp appeared to have a black eye. Connolly described Depp as having a high tolerance for alcohol, but said he'd only possibly seen Depp drunk twice in the years that he's worked for him.
I think Jack Sparrow was more drunk than Johnny Depp.
Connolly was called to the house in Australia the day Depp lost his finger.
The time I seen Miss Heard and Johnny in that house is when I arrived there to extract them.
And how did Miss Heard seem to you when you saw her on that day when you arrived to extract him?
Crazy. Fierce, fierce.
Okay. What was the last thing Miss Heard said as you were taking Mr. Depp out of the house to go to your apartment and then the hospital?
Yeah, the last words I recall hearing as I'm getting Johnny out is, yeah, just f*** off with your guys, you covered like you always do.
On cross-examination, one of Heard's lawyers elicited laughs from the courtroom gallery and Depp's lawyers when Connolly was asked about what he saw when he arrived at the home in Australia, the day that Depp lost part of his finger.
Then you went in the house and saw Mr. Depp in the foyer, correct?
Yes, correct.
And Mr. Depp was trying to urinate in the foyer, wasn't he?
No.
Mr. Depp had his penis out of his
Objection.
pants, didn't he?
I think I would remember
Relevance.
seeing Mr. Depp's penis.
Allow.
Johnny Depp looked astonished at the suggestion that he urinated on the floor and laughed when Connolly said, and I quote, "I've never seen Mr. Depp's penis." Then Heard's team played an audio recording of Depp from the home in Australia.
What you are and who you are and how you me over and make me feel sick of myself. There's still a lot left in the day. Maybe you should dye your hair. I see your roots.
Connolly said he didn't see any cuts or bruises on Amber Heard that day. Heard's team ended by asking about Heard's demeanor toward Connolly.
Mr. Connolly, you agree that Ms. Heard's been nothing but respectful and professional to you, correct?
Absolutely.
The last witness of the week, another longtime security guard of Depp's, Starling Jenkins. He talked about what happened the morning after Amber Heard's 30th birthday party in 2016, when Depp had arrived late after the meeting over his finances.
I was informed by Amber that she got in a fight with Johnny last night. She threw his personal property over the balcony into the streets, 9th and Broadway.
And when you say personal property, what are you referring to?
His phone, wallet, credit cards, passports, everything that's in his wallet.
Did Ms. Heard say anything else to you about this altercation?
Nothing except they were fighting.
Depp had previously testified he went to his West Hollywood home in the early morning hours after Heard hit him in the face. Jenkins described where he found Depp's cell phone.
Did you end up finding Mr. Depp's phone?
Yes, I did. In Skid Row, probably 6 miles from the house.
And who had the phone?
A homeless gentleman, unhoused gentleman. I approached him about the phone. He was honest. He returned it. I gave him a reward for it.
And what was the reward?
$420, chicken tacos, chips, apples, Fiji water.
Next, Jenkins said he went with Amber Heard and her friends to the Coachella Music Festival to provide security.
And the morning of April 22nd, did you see any injuries on Ms. Heard?
No marks. No injuries.
And now we have to go back to that unpleasant discussion about what's been described as the defecation in the bed incident. Johnny Depp called it a grumpy. We heard testimony about Depp's staff finding feces in the bed.
We had a conversation pertaining to the surprise she left in the boss's bed prior to leaving the apartment.
And when you refer to the surprise in the boss's bed, what are you referring to?
The defecation.
And what did Ms. Heard say about the defecation in Mr. Depp's bed?
A horrible practical joke gone wrong.
And that's it for week 3 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard from the Fairfax County Courthouse in Virginia. I'm Angenette Levy, and thanks for listening to the Law and Crime Sidebar podcast. You can find it anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll see you next week.